talk about the future of the medical device excise tax. And I know you probably haven't heard about it in a while because it's been suspended. However, the suspension does expire at the end of this year. And therefore we wanted to, nobody can tell exactly what's going to happen, but I think it'd be helpful to know kind of what's been going on legislatively. And so, because there are a lot of our clients that are asking, just starting to ask as to what do we think about the tax coming back, to get the systems back in place and things like that, because deposit requirements get triggered. So it is something, although we still don't know exactly what's going to happen, it's something that is at the top of people's minds. So Andrew, can you give us the summary of where we are legislatively? I know there's a lot going on different aspects, so please.
Yeah, so the medical device excise tax, I think, is tied up in sort of the overall discussion about a year-end tax bill. And the question is, what's the vehicle? Assuming they can reach an agreement on a tax bill for year-end. The most likely vehicle would be government funding for the fiscal year that began October 1. We're operating under a continuing resolution that it will expire on November 21st. The expectation is there will probably be a second continuing resolution, or CR, to carry us into a further period. Some have discussed into December, and others have discussed moving it into February or March because of the uncertainty around the impeachment inquiry and how that might affect the ability to get the government funding done, and also to negotiate any kind of year-end tax package. They want to avoid a government shutdown. If they kick the can down the road into December, I think there's a further opportunity to try to get something done on a government funding bill. If they kick the can down the road until February or March, then I think this is probably going to likely carry over into 2020, and we'll probably be talking about a retroactive renewal of the medical device excise tax. One caveat: while extenders generally are being talked about in the context of a year-end government funding bill, there is a notion among some staff that maybe the medical device excise tax could move on the second continuing resolution because there are some non-tax health extenders in there. So that is a possibility, but I find it hard to imagine that people pushing for other temporary provisions to be renewed or extended would want to see the medical device excise tax move on its own, because that might relieve some of the pressure on Congress to act on these other issues. So stay tuned. There's still an opportunity for year-end action, but I know that there's also a growing sentiment that maybe this is going to be an early 2020 issue.
And I would anticipate that if in fact it does go into 2020 and there has to be something retroactive, I would anticipate that the IRS and Treasury would have to issue something, at least in the interim, if they don't want companies to take action right away, to start filing just in case it does get passed.
2 years ago, we had the IRS put out penalty relief for those who didn't remit the payment that was otherwise owed. But then at that point, I think there was an understanding that Congress was going to do a retroactive renewal of the medical device excise tax. It's not clear, or as clear today, that that's the case. So you would know better than I would, but I'm not sure whether or not IRS would be comfortable in that position.
Well, and I would agree with you. That's a very good point. If in fact, I think the IRS and Treasury are willing to step in, if there's some real guarantee that something is going to happen, it's just a timing issue. Otherwise, I think they're going to have to live with the rules right now. So it is a wait and see still, and we will keep everyone updated. Thank you.